Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. I don't know how long this video will end up. It's expected to be quite short, but you know me. I need to get this done. The sun's coming round, which means I need to get the door to the lounge shut, the fan on, and possibly the humidifier, although we're still at 76%, which at 23 degrees is fine, but we'll be up to, if the sun covers the roof, if it stays out, then we'll be up to 27, 28 again. The idea of this video is to just point the camera at each plant. Some I'm not going to have trouble with because they'll be behind others. I'm not moving plants around. Just point the camera at each plant and just quickly say whether it's growing or not, and then whether it should be or not. And that should give us an impression of those that have just stalled, that are sulking, etc. So down here, all the Restrepias are growing. They're all okay. There's two that are on the repot list, but that's purely because they've got moss in the pot. They've only been in the pot a year. They're not urgent. That Phalaenopsis back there doesn't look too clever, but it's growing, so I would say it's okay. The rest of the Phalaenopsis, growing, doing well, growing, doing fine, growing, doing fine, growing, doing fine. Not stalled, and it looks like it's got a new growth coming, but it's a very small, relatively young plant. So that one's not doing as well as some of the others. Right, coming up here, we've got the giant black hair type hybrid at the back with the blooms on the top. Not growing and shouldn't be at the moment, so there's nothing wrong with what's going on. The two latest canes on it have bloomed. One's finished blooming, one's not far off. When those blooms are finished, we will start getting some new canes. And if I can get new canes as big as that one, I'll be over the moon. Dendrobium hercoglossum is not growing. It's blooming, but it's not growing. Some of the existing canes are still pushing on and growing new leaves, but there's no sign of life at the base. Not good, because that's a mother plant I've had a very long time. I've got kikis, you know, it wouldn't be lost totally, but it's not doing well at the moment. This little plant at the back, am I going to be able to turn it round? I doubt it, and I doubt if I can get this out. What is it? It's an Encyclia, isn't it? Yeah. Encyclia Xing Fong Thomas, and it's not doing at all well. It just isn't growing very well. It's got very few roots and it's not doing well. This is my apple blossom. Ugly looking plant. It's had bad times, it's had damage done, slugs, but it does have a nice new growth coming, so it is growing. Behind it is Victoria Regina, not growing at all. The latest cane with the green on the top is still producing new leaves, so there's life in it, but there's no sign of new growths at the base, so not anywhere near as good as it should be. Then coming around here, we can move that one across there a bit without knocking anything over or off. Then we can move that one. Right, that's one of the catastantes that were split up. I split the huge plant into three. That's one of them. It's growing, it's doing fine, it's got roots. This is the Prosthetia, what it says Encyclia crossed with Epidendrum, but it's Midnight Star, I think, or something it's called. It's growing. Hasn't been repotted since I got it, but the bark it's in is okay, so it can stay in the pot. That's growing, that's doing okay. And then this is one of my Brassias, the species. So this is Vericosa. It's just finished blooming. It's got new growths. It is growing, and it's going to stay in the pot for now. So that's that shelf. So I'm just getting everything back where it goes. Coming down here, this is not going to be easy. On the end there is a zygopetalum. It's growing just about, it's sort of okay. And then we've got 4 Miltonias here that are all sort of growing. They're not doing brilliantly well, but I mean, like this one, that's the Miltonia Sunset. That's got 2 new growths. It's 2 plants. It's growing. This one, new growth. It's growing. New growths. It's growing. That's the main thing. Down here is the bigger stuff. This that looks remarkably like some sort of oncidium is actually a zygopetalum. That's its latest growth. I'm more than pleased with that. It should start another new growth soon. That growth didn't attempt to bloom. And the rest of the plant's not very good. But that is, and it's produced roots down into the pot. It's got reasonable roots, that one. This is the Wildcat Bobcat with its very strange, distorted latest growth. Nonetheless, it's growing. This growth keeps extending upwards. I'd like to see a new one. I'd like to see a new growth replace this one because it's doing odd things. This is the Miltonia from Insa. That one needs taking out the pot, moving back across the pot and putting back in again. I might actually do, oh, no, it's going to get too hot in here. But that needs some work, but it is growing. It's got 2 nice new growths and 2 more just starting, so it's doing okay. This is Pieces, and the Pieces have got new growths on them, so it's growing. Again, this is Miltonia Pieces, and the Pieces have got new growths or maturing existing growths, sometimes both. So, and then we've got this top shelf, which is just going to be extremely difficult because I won't be able to get at many things. That one there is one of the Catatantes. That's growing, new growths, good stuff. This is my Mexicoa. It has 2 new growths on it. It's not doing well at all. It's virtually got no roots, but the 2 new growths hopefully will get some new growths, get new roots going. This is my Infundibulum, finished blooming a while ago and has a nice strong new growth coming with new roots starting. That's okay. I'd like to see a second new growth, but although this blooms really well for me, it's not actually that mature, this plant, not really. It's only got 4 canes, 2 with leaves and 2 without, and 1 new growth. So it's not actually that mature for that type of plant. I'll leave the Phalaenopsis, they'll get done separately. This is my Epidendrum, not doing very well at all as a plant. Literally not doing very well, no growth from the base, canes shrivelling, got some blooms. Difficult to say much more about that. Now we're coming into the difficulties where I'm going to have to turn that a bit like that. So that's the last of the 3 Catatantes. That's the biggest one. Quite a few new growths, all pushing on really well. Next to that, so this is where I can't really see what I'm doing, but I'll do what I can, is Dendrobium lindleyi. It has no new growths whatsoever and has only had a couple last year. It still has leaves, but it's not growing. It's totally stationary. Then on the end there, this is difficult. That's one of my Laelia anceps. It's got 2 new growths on it. It's doing okay. It's pulling back from the brink, almost getting thrown out, so I'm going to have to take this off of my hand. I can't hold it like that. That's the other Laelia anceps. Nice strong new growth coming up here and roots, so it's going to be fine. And then in front of that is one of the antelope dendrobiums. There's 1 growth up here. Let's come back on my hand now. 1 growth up here and 1 growth over here, and it's there, so, and another strong new growth coming up there on the edge of the pot. So that's doing okay. I don't think we'll ever get blooms on it, but it's growing nicely. This is my red cattleya. Not looking good, but then it never has. It's never looked good as a plant. Finished blooming a while back, and it should be producing new growths, but it isn't yet. So, but there's root tips, so it's got signs of life. So that's that one. This is my Renanthera, however you want to say it. It's been potted up like this so that when I water it now, the bark retains some moisture, and the parts of the roots that are in the pot at least get hydrated fully. The ones sticking out don't. And I haven't got the ability to soak this anymore like I used to with the Vandas. This is my other Brassia. This is a hybrid, Santa Barbara I think. New growths with roots, coming on. I wouldn't say it's doing brilliantly, but it's coming on. And then my Vanda, tucked away in here, has grown quite a few new leaves lately, and there's a lovely new root in the pot down there. That will hydrate. Now when I water it, the aerial roots do hydrate, and there are a couple of roots in the pot, but it's not hydrating as well as it should. Hence the lower leaves are a bit dehydrated. And then last on this shelf is the other antelope dendrobium, which has produced this new leaf, which I think has finished growing now, and now it's producing another new growth. It's got a pot full of roots, it's doing fine. So that's everything on the left. I'm not doing the phals apart from this dendrobium, which is the, oh, goodness me, I've forgotten what it's called now. It is Hancocky Eye, has the lovely yellow honey scented blooms. Grows like a bamboo bush. Had quite a lot of mealybug on it when I got it. I haven't got rid of them completely, but they've gone down to next to nothing. Under normal circumstances out here, there are no mealybugs. I do still have a few scale lurking, but I didn't want mealybugs introduced to this environment, even though I've got a few turn up now and again in the kitchen on the phals. But yeah, I think I've basically got rid of them. It's had systemic sprays, so there's chemical within the plant, so anything takes a bite shouldn't last long. So yeah, some things are doing okay. There are still a few dotted around that are just not doing well. The Lindley springs to mind. That's just not growing, and it should be by now. It should be producing new growths. It's July. But it isn't. There's nothing much I can do, you know. And I've still got some things that look tatty, but aren't in a bad state as far as growing is concerned. They might not look like very good plants, but they're growing. You know, for instance, this one over here, this Cattleya type, the apple blossom, it's growing, you know. So the new parts of the plant will eventually replace the old. New growths will produce new roots, and it'll come on. So really over here, the ones that are not doing at all well are Lindley, the Mexicoa, Victoria Regina, Hercoglossum, and my Encyclia. Encyclia or Epidendrum? I've forgotten which now. Epidendrum. So those are the ones that are just not doing well at all. Everything else is okay or doing fine. So now what we'll do now is we'll put that one away, and then perhaps what's tomorrow? Friday. Depends what happens tomorrow. I've got to go and get new tyres on my car, and you can only book in AM or PM, so you can turn up and effectively get in a queue. You know, you just have to leave your car with them, and they'll get round to it when, you know, when they finish the ones they're working on. So you can't like book an hour slot or anything like that. You've just got to go round there. So I'll go round there in the morning, and I don't know when I'll be back. That's the problem. So that's how it'll have to be. The bad thing is it looks like it might be raining tomorrow, so going for a walk while they're doing my car might not be the best of options still. But if I get the chance, I'm going to do the same thing that I've just done over this side. but I think I might have to split this side in two. It's the sheer number of plants, especially as it includes a dozen Derrick's plants, the smaller ones on that shelf. I mean, if you take the well, what is endearingly known as the display shelf, which isn't necessarily at the moment, and the mounts, that top shelf and that shelf, that's enough for a video. And that would then leave the rescues, Masdevallias, odont types, and the Coelogenes plus a couple of others for another video. So we can get 3 videos out of this sort of thing. I'm not sure I'll be filming on Saturday. It's an Orchid Society meeting. And it's actually a committee meeting before the actual meeting for real, which means I have to set off earlier to get there for the actual committee meeting. So yeah, I'm just going to stick to these types of videos when I can this week, as there isn't much new. There isn't much that I want to risk repotting in, you know, heading towards the middle of July when it's supposedly the warmest and brightest time of year. Not necessarily the best time to be repotting stuff, not unless it's an emergency. I don't think I've got any emergencies at the moment, so that's that. And this morning I've been, you won't see it yet, I've filmed a bonsai video that's not for me. It's going to another channel as part of a collaboration. The objective is for people from bonsai channels, not necessarily all in this country. I don't know how the guy's going to work it. But he put feelers out and said, would you be prepared to do a video and send it to me as part of a collaboration? And I said, yeah, I'm up for that. And basically he said the title is, what is a bonsai to you? What is a bonsai? Yeah, what do you think is the answer to that question? Everybody's going to have a different answer. There will be similarities, obviously, tree in a pot. But nonetheless, I filmed mine this morning and sent it off to the guy. Once he's put his video together and published it, which he said he was hoping to get all the videos in by this weekend, and then get the production, you know, merging them all together with introductions and, you know, the editing bit. Once he's done that, he was hoping to get it published by the end of July. Once it's been published and been sat on YouTube for a while, then I will publish that on my channel as well, as just a standalone video, because I think, you know, there's some interesting points on there, and I can almost guarantee that my video will not be the same as anybody else's, because my view of bonsai is probably different to most people. That's why I've only got around 20 and not 500. So anyway, that's what's sort of going on. And yeah, I need to get out of here, get the fan on, get the humidifier on. I had the, easily distracted, I had the RO unit on today. Now I don't like wasting water because I do have to pay for it. I am on a meter. Guess I left the tap on too long. So I filled up all my containers, I filled up the bird bath out there, and I filled up the humidifier, and I've still got that much left over. That will be used for watering as best I can. If the worst comes to the worst, I'll put some fertiliser in it and use it on my trees outside or the tubs or something. I never waste water, it never goes down the sink. It's funny actually, you consider, like the RO unit itself has a good end and a bad end. The good end is the stuff you keep, your RO water. The bad end is what's left after the good stuff's been taken out. And in my case, that goes straight down the drain. And a lot of people say, well, that's totally wasted. No, it's not. It goes to the processing centre as quite clean water. Yeah? So it gets used again. It's not lost, you know. And obviously the processing centre gets rid of all the nasties that we do as humans, you know. And that's relatively clean water, you know. I mean, if you think about it, you think of all the chemicals you put down your toilet to clean it. Well, that goes to the same processing centre. That's not clean water, is it? You know, so I don't worry too much. I don't call it waste. It gets back into the system, gets recycled round and gets used again. So not wasted. You know, tipping it on the gravel beds would be wasted when it's been raining nearly every day. Anyway, I will see you next time, and hopefully we can do another 2 of these types of videos and clear the rest of the plants out, so that we will end up after the 3 videos with a set of plants that are not doing well, and they'll be identified. I might even think about doing something with them as a set, if you know what I mean, but I'm still thinking on that. So yes, I will, on these blooms that seem to be coming out all over the place, I will leave you looking at one of the perfect ones. They are quite attractive, aren't they? Spidery nonsense. See you next time. Bye for now.